Hello everyone. Today in this video we will discuss about what is meant by Stokes law, and afterwards we will discuss how to find an expression for Stokes law and how to get the expression for terminal velocity and some problems related to both. Okay, so we will discuss it. So what is meant by Stokes law? The force that retards a sphere moving through a viscous fluid is directly proportional to the velocity and the radius of the sphere and the viscosity of the fluid. Sir George G. Stokes, an English scientist, expressed clearly the viscous drag force F as F is equal to 6 pi eta RV. So what is meant by this Stokes law? This Stokes law gives an expression for the viscous force. When a spherical object, if it is falling through a fluid, it can be either liquid or gas. Okay. So when a spherical object, if it is falling through a fluid, the viscous force depends on which parameter? That was given first by George G. Stokes, an English scientist. So it is mentioned as Stokes law. So this viscous force, it is directly proportional to velocity v, and it is directly proportional to the radius of the sphere, that which falls through the fluid, and it is directly proportional to viscosity of the fluid. So that viscous force is given by F is equal to 6 pi eta RV, where 6 pi is the constant of proportionality, eta is the coefficient of viscosity of the fluid, r is the radius of the sphere, v is the velocity of the sphere with which it is falling through the fluid, and F is the viscous force. Okay. So this expression of viscous force F is equal to 6 pi eta RV, that we are going to derive by the method of dimensions. Okay. So the viscous force acting on a sphere, it is already mentioned, it is directly proportional to which parameters? Directly proportional to the radius. That this dimensional analysis already we discussed in the first chapter. Now units and dimensions, there we discussed how to find a relationship between various physical quantities. If you know that a physical quantity depends on minimum 2 to 3 parameters. No. If it is more than 3 parameters, already we discussed, it will be a failure. So here this viscous force depends on, we can write radius, then coefficient of viscosity and the velocity. Okay, radius of the sphere, coefficient of viscosity and the velocity of the object. So this we can represent it as F is directly proportional to eta raised to A, where eta is coefficient of viscosity, r raised to b, where r is radius of the sphere, and v raised to c, where v is the velocity of the sphere, and a, b, c are constants. Okay, so you have to find the values of a, b, c. Which power? On which power it depends. And F is the viscous force. Okay. So when we remove the proportionality symbol, a constant will be there, and that constant we will write it as k. So we can write it as F is equal to k into eta raised to a, r raised to b, v raised to c. And what is the specialty of that constant? It is the constant of proportionality, which will be only a numerical value and has no dimensions. Okay. So now we are going to continue with that. So we can write what is the dimension of force. Dimension of force is given by mLt raised to minus 2. Dimension of viscosity is given by mL raised to minus 1, T raised to minus 1. So eta raised to A, we can write it as mL raised to minus 1, T raised to minus 1 raised to A. Then what comes? Radius. No, depends on the radius. So L raised to B. Then it depends on velocity, v raised to c, and dimension of velocity is L t raised to minus 1. So we can write it as mLt raised to minus 2 equal to mL raised to minus 1, t raised to minus 1 raised to a, L raised to b, Lt raised to minus 1 raised to c. So m term, L term, t term can be written together on the RHS. So what we can write, LHS will be same only, MLT raised to minus 2 equal to M raised to A, L raised to minus A plus B plus C, T raised to minus A minus C. That we can write it as second equation. Okay. So if you are comparing the powers of M, L, T, that left hand side and right hand side should be equal, no, dimensionally correct. So we can write M raised to A is equal to M raised to 1, or we can write it as A is equal to 1, that we are writing it as equation 3. Similarly, by equating the power of L, we can write minus A plus B plus C is equal to L raised to 1, or minus A plus B plus C is equal to 1, that we are writing it as equation 4. And by equating the power of T, we can write minus A minus C equal to minus 2, or here it is minus 2, okay, not plus 2. So here it is not minus 2, here it is minus 2, not plus 2, okay. Or we can write A plus C is equal to 2. You can substitute the value of A, so 1 plus C is equal to 2, so you will get C is equal to 1. You know the value of A and C, that you can substitute in equation 4, so what you will get, minus 1 plus B plus 1 equal to 1, or we will get B is equal to 1. Already we discussed how to derive it by dimensional method. You can prove that also. Okay, so what we got the value of A, B and C as 1. So we can write F is equal to K into eta raised to 1, R raised to 1, V raised to 1, or F is equal to K eta RV, and the constant of proportionality is given by 6 pi. So Stokes law in mathematical form, we can write it as F is equal to 6 pi eta RV, where F is the viscous force, eta is coefficient of viscosity of the fluid through which that sphere is falling, R is the radius of the sphere, and V is the velocity with which the sphere is falling through that fluid. Okay, so the mathematical expression of viscous force is given by F is equal to 6 pi eta RV. Now we will discuss about terminal velocity. What is meant by terminal velocity? Terminal velocity is defined as the highest velocity attained by an object that is falling through a fluid. The maximum velocity attained by maximum, that very important, maximum constant velocity. Okay, the maximum constant velocity attained by an object when that object is falling through a fluid. That maximum constant velocity is known as terminal velocity. So it is observed when the sum of drag force and buoyancy is equal to the downward gravity force that is acting on the object, the acceleration of the object is 0 as the net force acting on the object is 0. So what is meant by this statement, that we will see here. Okay, in next slide we will see it in detail. So what it says, an object is falling through a fluid. Okay, so which are the forces acting on the object? Gravity will be acting downwards. Then since it is falling upwards, we can say viscous force will be acting. Since it is falling downwards, we can say viscous force will be acting upwards. Not only viscous force, buoyant force also will be there. No? So when buoyant force and viscous force is equal to weight of the object, what happens? Net force will be 0. So acceleration of the object is 0. So that time it will move with constant velocity, and that constant velocity is known as terminal velocity. So when a small spherical body falls freely through a viscous medium, 3 forces acts on it. Which are the 3 forces? Here you can see the diagram. So weight of the object is acting vertically downwards, and viscous drag or that viscous force is there which is acting vertically upwards. Then upthrust is there, that is also acting vertically upwards. No. And according to Stokes' law, we know that the opposing viscous drag goes on increasing with the increasing velocity. No, F is equal to 6 pi eta RV. So we can say that this viscous force will be proportional to velocity. It increases with velocity. And as the body falls through the medium, its velocity goes on increasing due to gravity. Therefore, the opposing viscous drag which acts upwards also goes on increasing. Since the object is falling under, so initially weight will be more. So automatically we can say that its velocity will be gradually increasing. As velocity increases, what happens? Viscous force also increases. And a stage will be reached when the actual weight or true weight of the body is just equal to the sum of the upward thrust due to buoyancy and the upward viscous force. That is, as it comes down, weight will be more, but a stage will be reached when weight is equal to viscous force plus upthrust. So that time net force will be 0. So it will move with constant velocity, and that constant velocity is known as terminal velocity. So afterwards, from that time onwards, it will move with constant velocity, and that is known as terminal velocity. Okay. So here now we will discuss how to find an expression for terminal velocity. So here we can see the diagram. Spherical or solid object is we are considering. So which are the forces acting? Weight is acting vertically downwards. Viscous force is acting vertically upwards, and buoyant force is also acting vertically upwards. And here we are considering rho s as the density of solid and rho l as the density of liquid. Okay, it is falling. And eta is the coefficient of viscosity, r is the radius of the sphere, v is the velocity, small v is the velocity, and capital V is the velocity of the sphere. Sorry, capital V is the velocity, sorry, not velocity, it is the volume of the sphere. So we can find weight. How to find weight? Weight is equal to mass into acceleration due to gravity, and mass can be written as volume into density. Density of what? Density of solid. So that's why it is written as W is equal to rho S. Rho S means density of solid into volume into acceleration due to gravity. Similarly, buoyant force can be written as, already we have discussed, no, that buoyant force is equal to weight of the liquid. It will, so whenever this object is falling, it will displace an equal amount of water, no, then only it can come into the liquid. So what happens? The volume of the liquid displaced will be equal to volume of the water. So we can find buoyant force is equal to volume of the object into density of liquid into acceleration due to gravity. Because buoyant force is equal to weight of the liquid displaced by the object. So weight of the liquid, we can find it as volume into density of the liquid. Volume is equal to volume of the solid itself. Okay, because that will displace when the solid comes down, it will occupy the same space as it will occupy the space that will be equal to volume of the liquid displaced by it. And then what is the other force which is acting in upward direction? That is the viscous force that is given by Stokes law, which is given by 6 pi eta RV. Okay, so now we can write at equilibrium. Gravity should be equal to buoyant force plus viscous force. So W is equal to FB plus FV. And what is W? W can be written as rho S into G into V. And buoyant force can be written as rho L into G into V. That is, then what else left? Viscous force. No, viscous force can be written as 6 pi eta RV. Or we can write, if we want to find the velocity, here we are finding the velocity, no. So 6 pi eta RV is equal to rho S minus rho L into G into V. And volume can be substituted as 4 by 3 pi r cube because it is a spherical object. R is the radius. So 6 pi eta RV is equal to rho S minus rho L into G into 4 by 3 pi r cube. Or terminal velocity V can be written as, remaining all term can be taken to RHS, and that will be in denominator, and 1 R will get cancelled, pi will get cancelled, 4 and 6 can be cancelled, no, 4 will be 2 numerator 2, you will get in denominator 3, and again one more 3 is there in the 4 by 3. So you will get it as the final expression for terminal velocity as V is equal to 2 by 9 eta into rho s minus rho l into r square g. What is eta? Eta is the coefficient of viscosity of the liquid through which the sphere is falling. Rho s is the density of the solid and rho l is the density of the liquid. R is the radius of the sphere and g is acceleration due to gravity and v is the terminal velocity. And in some books you can see it as terminal velocity is given by 2 by 9 eta rho minus sigma into r square g. So there they considered rho as the density of solid or density of the sphere and sigma as the density of liquid. Okay, so any expression, it's not a matter, either of those two expression you can consider according to your convenience, but whenever you are solving problems, these things you have to keep it in mind. If you are writing rho minus sigma, in that way if you are writing, you have to remember rho is the density of the solid and sigma is the density of the liquid or fluid through which that sphere is falling. Okay, and now we will discuss the different cases of terminal velocity. So first case, when density of solid is greater than density of liquid. So what happens? This terminal velocity will be positive, which means that object will be falling down. So the body will attain terminal velocity in the downward direction because rho s is greater than rho l. Okay. And the next case we can say when density of solid is less than density of liquid. So what happens? When the density of solid is less than density of liquid, you will get terminal velocity as negative, which means what it signifies the object is moving in upward direction. No. So terminal velocity will be negative, that is it will rise through the fluid, okay, liquid. Example, air bubbles in liquid. You might have seen that air bubbles will be coming in upward direction. Similarly, clouds in the sky are also moving in the upward direction because their terminal velocity is negative. Next case we can consider when density of solid is equal to density of liquid. In that case what happens? It can suspend anywhere in the liquid. The object can suspend. The object can remain suspended in the liquid. Now we will discuss some problems related to viscous. So we will discuss some problems related to viscous force. Okay. So first question, let us see. Assume that a spherical body is flowing through water. The velocity of the body at particular instant is 2 meters per second. Find the drag force on the body due to the fluid. Assume that Stokes' law is valid and given viscosity of water is given by 0.001 Poiseuille and radius of spherical object is 2 millimeters. So here already all data is given, velocity is given, coefficient of viscosity is given and radius of the spherical object is also given. So we can use the formula F is equal to 6 pi eta RV, where F is viscous force, eta is coefficient of viscosity, not mu, eta. Okay, and R is radius and V is the velocity. So if you are substituting, you can get it as 6 into 3.14 into 0.001 because that is a coefficient of viscosity, and radius is given by 2 into 10 raised to minus 3, 2 millimeters. That's why it can be written as 2 into 10 raised to minus 3 meters, and velocity is given by 2. So if you simplify, you will get it as 75.36 into 10 raised to minus 6. Since it is force, unit will be Newton. Okay, and now we will discuss the next problem. Calculate the terminal velocity in air of an oil drop of radius 2 into 10 raised to minus 5 meter from the following data. Given acceleration due to gravity is 9.8 meter per second square and coefficient of viscosity of air is 1.8 into 10 raised to minus 5 Pascal second. Density of oil is given by 900 kg per meter cube, and it is also given that upthrust of air may be neglected. So here it is given that upthrust can be neglected. That's why in that expression when we are writing 2 by 9 r square minus rho s minus rho l into g by eta. No. So there no need of considering that rho l term. Why? Because that term arises when we are considering the upthrust. Okay. So which are the data given? Radius is given. All those radius equal to 2 into 10 raised to minus 5 meter. Acceleration due to gravity is given 9.8 meter per second square. Coefficient of viscosity is given 1.8 into 10 raised to minus 5 Pascal seconds. And density is given 900 kilogram per meter cube. Okay. So we can use the formula 2 by 9 r square rho g by eta. Not pi eta. Okay. This is not pi. Okay, by mistake it is written as pi, it should be eta. So you can substitute that. So 2 into 10 raised to minus 5 whole square, not into, this is square, into 9.8 into 900 divided by 9 into 1.8 into 10 raised to minus 5. So here sigma or that rho s only considered, rho l no need to consider because already given that upthrust of air may be neglected. Okay, if it is given only you can use this relation. Otherwise what you have to do? You have to consider 2 by 9 r square into rho minus sigma into g by 9 eta. Here it is not pi, 9 pi, it is 9 eta. Okay, you have to substitute the value. So you will get it as 4.36 centimeter per second. Or you can write it as 4.36 into 10 raised to minus 2 meter per second. Okay. So this is the way of solving problems related to Stokes law and terminal velocity. So you can go through this video and you can derive the Stokes law and terminal velocity expressions by your own. Once you can watch the video, later on you can solve it by your own and try to solve as many problems as possible. And wherever you find difficulty, feel free to communicate that to me. Okay, thank you.